I'm Dr. Linda F. Williams, and today I want to talk about why you should eliminate imposter syndrome and how to do that. But first, I want to talk to you about Cinderella. So what you might not know is that in the 1812 version of the Cinderella story, she was not only made a servant, she was also forced to wear wooden shoes. Now, this is important because it's the pain of those wooden shoes that qualified her as the only woman in the kingdom who could wear the golden slipper. It was golden and not glass in the 1812 version. Now, it had to be very painful for her to wear those shoes for so long. And the story indicates that she became deformed because of it. Just look up some of the pictures of the women who used to bind their feet up over in the Asian countries to make them grow small. The bones became formed to the way they wrapped their feet. So that had to mean that she was the only grown woman in the kingdom who could wear that golden slipper. Now, the very thing that was meant for her harm became what walked her into her destiny. So I want you to look at your past and the things you've been through as your wooden shoes, the things that make you unique. The way you came to think of the world around you may have become twisted by trauma, but once you realize how and in what ways your perspective have been distorted, then you begin to heal from that. But that doesn't take away what you've been through. Now, I want you to look at all of that as your wooden shoes, because that's what makes you so unique that only you can help certain people. So let's take a broader structure, a broader look, a broader perspective of this. It's not only about us and how we should learn to thrive after suffering trauma. It's about the importance of our healing to those to whom we are connected in the master plan. There are people out there that only you can help. Only you, based on what you've been through. Only you, based on who that made you to become. Only you, who has come through the healing and are now equipped to see certain things in certain people. It's about purpose. This goes into purpose. So if you were born and created for a certain purpose and you have a certain part in the master plan, then those who are divinely connected to you in the master plan go without. Whatever that resource is that you're designed to provide, they go without. They go without healing. They go without whatever resources there are. They remain hurt and in pain because we have not stepped to our purpose. And imposter syndrome can make you not step to that. I mean, everybody in the world sees how uniquely equipped you are for a certain thing, but you. And all of us seeing that power in you, seeing that ability in you, means absolutely nothing if you don't see it. All of us saying how powerful you are and what you have to offer means absolutely nothing in anybody's life if you don't see it. So I want you to see imposter syndrome as a big smoke screen. We know smoke, you can't, there's no resistance in smoke. Smoke doesn't fight against you when you walk through it. And similar to the Wizard of Oz, where the guy was put on this big show and he was behind the freaking curtain and he was a nobody, okay? Similar to that, that's what imposter syndrome does. It makes us see a big bad monster and believe that monster has control over us, but what we don't get is that it only has the control over us that we allow it. She was a grown woman with a child-sized foot, shaped a certain way. The golden slippers were designed to fit her feet, and that's why she was the only woman in the kingdom who could fit that golden slipper. And fitting that golden slipper, she stepped out of that wooden shoe that was painful and deforming, slipped her foot out of that shoe into her destiny. And that's what walking through this smoke screen will do for us. And it's not about us. It's about all the people in the master plan that are connected to us. Let me show you a couple examples of that. The Ghost Boy.
The inspiring story of Martin Pistorius, who became known as the Ghost Boy. When he was 12, Martin Pistorius was struck down by a mystery illness that saw him suffer a horror beyond imagination. Everyone agreed Martin Pistorius was a very special child, growing up in suburban Pretoria to parents Rodney and Joan. The eldest son, the high achiever with a remarkable talent for electronics. It was 1988 and Martin complained of a very minor illness, a sore throat and a headache.
And he came up to me and said, "I'm not feeling well." And then he never, ever went back to school again.
It was far more serious than anyone could have imagined. Day after day, year after year, Rodney would deliver his son to a daycare centre for the severely mentally disabled. Martin, unaware he'd grown into a young man. But what no one knew was that inside Martin's body, a miracle was happening. After 4 years of a virtual coma, his brain was coming back to life. Flashes of consciousness were lighting up the darkness. With his mind fast returning, but a body he was unable to control, Martin had no way of telling the world he was conscious, intelligent, and desperate to communicate. For a decade, Martin has been able to understand everything, but unable to communicate anything. It is a living hell. But then a remarkable nurse named Werner van der Walt saw something in Martin that nobody else could, and his life would change in the most extraordinary way. After 9 long years of being locked in his body, Martin Pistorius' salvation came in a chance hiring at his daycare centre. Relief nurse and therapist Werner van der Walt would give Martin his life back.
How are you feeling today, Martin?
Werner has the patience of a saint and the dedication of a true carer.
I know you can understand.
Over 3 years, she learned to read what everyone else considered to be Martin's uncontrolled spasms as his desperate attempts to communicate. Over time, they formed a language of barely perceptible eye movements and nods. Given the chance, Martin seized it with everything he had. From the most basic communication system of symbols, Martin mastered computers and synthesised speech. But before he ran, it was an arduous journey. His mind a blank slate, he had to relearn everything. Martin graduated with a degree in education from Pretoria University, winning the Presidential Medal. He became a guest speaker at conferences around the world, and all without speaking a word. But what Martin wanted more than anything in the world was love. And he found it in Jonah, a friend of his sister living in the UK. In this new chapter of his life, Martin runs his own web design business, works tirelessly for charities, and has written a best-selling book. His is now a life filled with joy, and ultimately he has one person to thank. She was the nurse who saw the potential, the person no one else could see.
Live here.
She listened to the Martin no one else could hear.
The first Surgeon General of California.
When I became a pediatrician, I had no intention of going into trauma. I mean, I did the psychiatry rotation as a medical student, and I was like, no gracias. When I started my medical practice in a very underserved neighborhood of San Francisco, I had two patients that I was seeing one day. It was a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old. And I looked at their chart, and it said that their mom had driven with the 2 kids in the back of the car with no seatbelts on into a building.
Oh my God.
And it said that their mom suffered from paranoid schizophrenia. And I didn't have to ask. I didn't have to wonder what that must have been like, because I grew up with it. My mom, for many years, her mental health disorder was untreated. And as a result, we experienced a lot of suffering. It was as a doctor, as a pediatrician, when I read the research about ACEs, about adverse childhood experiences, it just clicked. Our own experiences allow us to have the empathy. It gives you a drive to say, I will keep others from suffering in the same way. That was my ammunition. One of the interesting things that I experienced was, because of that unpredictability, my radar for reading people, like micro changes in mood, was a matter of safety, right? It was really important. But what was interesting about it was when I became a physician, I could read my patients, right? I could say, wait, there's something else going on here. There's something that and that is what probed me to ask deeper questions. Yeah. It's what probed me, and that is, so this is, it's a weird way, in the way that sometimes the worst things that happen to us become our superpower.
2 extraordinary people with their own unique superpowers that made all the difference in people's lives. It's like Cinderella's golden slipper. 1 million people might be able to wear the same size shoe, but there's only one that will wear that shoe the way you wear that shoe. There's something called gait. It involves how you walk and your bone structure, your health. Different things will affect how you wear a shoe, how you wear that shoe out, how you break that shoe in. And once that shoe is breaking in based on your gait, it will be uncomfortable for anybody else to wear it. And that's how what you've been through is, it shaped you to be exactly what you need to be in order to be a divine connection for the people who are divinely connected to you in the master plan. So 1 million people can do similar things, but only one person can do it the way you do it. So what's your superpower? What's your wooden shoe? So now I'm going to tell you 5 steps to deal with imposter syndrome. 1. Recognize you're in good company. Many famous people have admitted to having imposter syndrome. Nobel laureate Maya Angelou. Nobel Prize-winning physicist Albert Einstein. First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama. Supreme Court Justice, Sonia Sotomayor. Academy Award winner, Tom Hanks. And multiple Grammy-winning vocalist, Lady Gaga. All of these accomplished people have admitted to imposter syndrome. The only difference between you and these people is that they felt the fear and did it anyway. 2. The shoe fits, so wear it. There is someone in the world who needs only what you can offer. Only you can fill those shoes. Whether you own that or not may make the difference between somebody else's misery or destiny. 3. Imposter syndrome is nothing more than false evidence that isn't real. Like that man behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz, it's a weak act at best. So feel the fear and do it anyway. 4. Embrace the uncomfortable truth. When others see your capabilities, it may be scary, but lean into it. Others may see the potential that your circumstances won't allow you to see. 5. Own your superpower. Behind the mindsets that hold you back are the keys to unlock the superpowers that will walk you into the destiny behind the smokescreen of imposter syndrome. And there you go, how to deal with imposter syndrome. Always remember, your greatest power is realized in the truth of who you are. Know that truth.